Hi everyone, my name is Kaylie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, so it is currently Saturday, November 12th, and I should have had this video done last night along with YouTube video number 3 that I also have to film today, but I also have to take my dog to the kennel today at 1 o'clock, and then I also have to go to a lash appointment at 1:50, and also her kennel is an hour away, so I have to leave here within the next pretty much hour. So we are going to try to get this done, and can y'all just pray for me please? Like, actually, just like, I need all the good prayers that I can get, even though y'all literally won't see this until after this date. Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. And by the way, I got the nails done, so period, you know. Okay, so before we get into today's story time, for the most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave. And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, everybody, so before we get into today's video, I would like to give a big shout out to Kenzie for sponsoring today's video. So if you guys watched my video a few weeks ago, you guys would know that I've started my IPL hair removal journey with Kenzie. Now, if you guys don't know, Kenzie is a handheld IPL device, which can be used for multiple things besides hair removal, like reducing acne spots, aging spots, and skin rejuvenation. So I've been using my Kenzie for about 10 weeks now, and I'm so happy that I decided to try a different method slash type of hair removal, because I tried the waxing, I tried the shaving. The worst is whenever I get out of the shower and I'm all ready to go somewhere, and then I'm wearing a tank top and I realize I forgot to shave my armpit. So then, you know, I run over to the sink, pull my tank top down a little bit, you know, try to shave it as fast as I can, and I get razor burn, and usually I get shaving cream all over my tank top or whatever I'm wearing. And waxing, I just simply could not commit to that, because besides the fact that it literally hurt so bad, the grow out process was terrible, especially since I live in Florida. I'm wearing shorts and tank tops 24/7, and I do not want to be walking around hairy for 3 or 4 weeks until my next appointment. Which, not to mention, waxing is not that cheap, especially if you're getting more than one area done. And I was. Keyword was. We've moved on. Because the Kenzie, I only have to buy one time, and I can use it as many times as I want. By the way, I have a great discount code for you guys. If you just want to click the link down below in the description and use my code
50 Leas.
So the Kenzie was said to be able to provide quick, long-lasting results and full results at only 12 weeks. And personally, I would say that it is living up to those expectations. So this was what the area looked like before I started any IPL treatment. As you can see, my hair is thick and full, which is scary. And then we're gonna fast forward to a month. I have been using my Kenzie once every single week. And you can see that my hair is growing in patchier and thinner, which is what we want. And this is a picture that I took 4 days ago. You can see the hair is growing in even thinner and even patchier than before, which I did not think was possible. And my hair has literally been growing so slow to the point where I really barely have to shave by the next time I'm ready to use my Kenzie. Okay everyone, so today I will be showing you how I use my Kenzie device. Now, the first step to this whole process is making sure to prep the area you are going to be using your IPL device on. Now for me, that was shaving my armpits last night. You want to make sure to get rid of all the hair that is in the area that you are going to be using the device on. So since I shaved last night, I am free to use my Kenzie device. So first things first, I'm going to plug in my Kenzie device. And the blinking light on the back means that it is not yet turned on. So we are going to click that, and once the power button is a solid green, your device is almost ready to use. Now, the last thing that we have to adjust is the heat setting. So we are going to click the power button, and the Kenzie device has 5 settings, 5 being the strongest IPL. So I'm going to be using it on setting 5, and I'm going to lay the device flat on my skin, and we are going to press this big button on the front. And if you don't want to have to keep clicking the big button over and over again, you can just hold it in and go against the skin. So I'm going to check back in with you guys in a few weeks to show you how my IPL hair removal journey is going with Kenzie. And before I forget, I have a special discount code for you guys, which will get you $50 off the Kenzie, taking it from $249 to $199. Or they even have the pay over time feature, meaning you do not have to pay all of it upfront, and I personally love using those features. I probably use them too much actually. And you guys can use my code
Leas50
at www.kenzie.com or you guys can click the link down below in the description and use the code there. But without further ado, let's get into today's story time. Okay, story time about how the love of my life used me to get closer to my best friend. I feel like I've had this happen before where like a boy used me to get closer to one of my friends. Not a nice feeling. Okay, so a little background information. I was 16, about to be 17 years old, and this all happened in my sophomore year of high school. But first, we're going to go back in time to whenever I was in 6th grade, because that is whenever I met the love of my life, Dominic. Before y'all say shit about my relationship slash obsession slash boyfriend who didn't know that he was my boyfriend at the time, I do know that I loved him, because to this day I have never felt anything even remotely close to what I felt with him with anyone else. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but you get the point. And Dominic and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party that was being thrown at the zoo, and we didn't talk for the entire party. I mean, granted, we were only like 12, but until they started handing out souvenirs. And by handing out souvenirs, I mean, so there was like this penguin show, right? They're standing up on stage with the penguins, you know, they're doing cool tricks with the fucking penguins. And then they're like, we have a gift, we have surprises for you guys. And they start throwing souvenirs into the fucking crowd. And like, I don't even know how tall you are as a 12-year-old, but I was not tall. But I ended up catching one of these, which took a lot of fucking work. But as soon as I get my hands on it, Dominic wants to come over and snatch that shit out of my hands. So I'm holding on one side, he's holding on the other. I'm crying, screaming bloody murder. And then both of our mothers came over to us and they're like, if you guys can't learn how to share, neither of you can have the toy. So for the rest of the party, both of us are literally just like fucking sitting there, each holding this toy in one of our hands, and we're just staring at each other. Like, at the end of the party, nobody got to keep the toy because we were still crying and fighting over it at the end. But then we became best friends. Eventually, him and I started going over each other's houses every day. And then we started sitting on the bus together, because I literally had no idea that he was even on my school bus. Probably because I never, like, I only sat in the front 2 seats of the bus because I was always scared of like the 7th and 8th graders that were in the back of the bus. But I was like a little tomboy, you know, we would play Minecraft and we would go and play in the fucking woods with sticks and rocks. And we would literally do this every single day after school. Literally every single day after school. But whenever we got into 7th grade, that is whenever Dominic started acting different. He became friends with this group of boys and girls who of course were known as the popular kids, and I did want to hang out with Dominic and his new friends, but the issue is I definitely did not fit or even look the part to be friends with these kids. And yes, in 7th grade you have to fit in with the popular kids. It starts that young, you know, because they all had the new trendy clothes, shoes. They were able to afford to have huge birthday parties at certain places, and then, you know, they wouldn't invite any of the kids that couldn't afford to go. Just shit like that, which is really sad. But yeah, and then all the popular boys liked all of the popular girls. They would always have their nails done and their hair done, and some of them even started doing their makeup. Like, we're in 7th grade. What are you doing? I mean, I'm not judging, but still. And myself, on the other hand, I was a tomboy. I liked playing video games and getting dirty outside, and I didn't care what kind of clothes or shoes that I wore. And because Dominic and I have been best friends for the past year, I thought that this wouldn't affect our friendship, and I thought that he still would have liked me for who I was. But this definitely did affect our friendship. He would never talk to me in school, let alone acknowledge me. Because once we got on that bus, it's like a whole new Dominic entered the fucking chat. Like, two-faced as fuck. You know, we would sit together, laugh, and play, and, you know, I would get off at his bus stop, we would go to his house after school. I'll never forget the one day that he was, like, super mean to me, and, like, the day that he cut me off, because the one day, him and his mom were supposed to come and get me after school, right? Well, his mom was supposed to grab both of us after school because my mom wasn't gonna be at home to drive me to his house after school. And I had never been picked up from the school before, so I had no idea where to go, or if it looks like I'm crying, I'm literally just yawning so much right now. So I decided that I was going to meet him at his locker, so that way we could both just walk to the office together. Well, when I got there, I am standing like 10 feet away from his lockers. Like, here's his lockers. I'm standing on the other side of the wall, just kind of sitting there, like, you know, against the wall, looking at my feet, you know, waiting. All of his friends are standing around him, and then all of his friends turn around and they look me up and down. And then they turned back to him and they're like, yeah, dude, we'll see you later. And then like all of them were like kind of punching him on the arm and then, you know, walking away laughing and just like looking back at me. Wasn't a good feeling. And then that's whenever Dominic looked at me and he like rolled his eyes and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you here? Like, why wouldn't you just meet me at the front? Like, oh my god, you're so annoying. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I didn't know where to go. And that was like really hurtful and weird to me because he's never acted like that towards me, you know? He's never been like a dick like that. So whenever we got to his house that day, I asked him about it. I was like, why don't you talk to me in school anymore? And why were you really mean to me today? And he was like, because I made new friends. Is that a problem? He's like, we literally hang out every single day. I should be allowed to make new friends. And I'm like, okay, sure, fine. Okay. But why did you talk to me the way that you did today? Because it actually really hurt my feelings and you were being really mean. And he was like, because you're so annoying. Like, how do you not know where the front of the building is? And how do you not know to go there and then just get a pass and then leave? So at that point, I decided to speak my truth. I was like, I think you're embarrassed to be seen with me because you don't want your cool friends knowing that you hang out with a loser. And he was like, I never said that. Why are you putting words in my mouth? He was like, I never said that, not once. And I was like, well, it's true. Like, why else wouldn't you want to hang out with me? And he was like, did you ever think that maybe you're too much to handle sometimes? Like, maybe I just don't want to talk to you because I actually get a break from you whenever I'm hanging out with my other friends. So then I'm like, okay, well, why do you invite me over if I'm really such that like a pain in the ass? And he was like, because I feel bad. If you don't have me to hang out with, then you don't have any other friends. What a little asshole. Oh my god. I swear to god, little kids are literally like fucking barbaric. You little shits. Be nice to each other. Oh my god. So then after that, he just randomly walked upstairs and then 5 minutes later his mom came down and she was like, hey honey, Dominic's not feeling good. I'm gonna take you home, okay? Which was really weird because he didn't even tell me, you know, that he wasn't feeling good, which I knew why he fucking went upstairs. It's not because he wasn't feeling good. It's because this kid was fucking pissed off at me. Like, okay, Dominic. Fucking ridiculous. After that, he never asked me to hang out again. He stopped sitting with me on the bus. Actually, he stopped riding the bus in general because he got his mom to drive him every single day to and from school. And it really sucked because I also really liked Dominic, not just as a friend, obviously from what you guys could tell at the beginning of the story what I said, but I thought that maybe Dominic liked me or maybe had a crush on me because he wouldn't hang out with these friends after school or those popular girls after school. He would hang out with me. So I thought I was like special in a way, which sounds really sad now that I'm saying it out loud. And I always knew that I wasn't as pretty as other girls, okay? So I wasn't completely surprised or upset whenever I saw him showing interest in other girls. Also, there were some things that Dominic was into and I wasn't, vice versa. Like, I liked reading. Reading, one of my favorite things to do, right? I also liked playing an instrument. You know, just like nerdy shit. So I definitely didn't expect him to have a crush on me, but I was hopeful that he did. Even though I know the chances were like very tiny. Yep. So yeah, pretty much for the next few years, it was him hanging out with these new friends and going to all these parties, and eventually he was named one of the hottest guys in the school. And then he wasn't named that because he kind of got a little ugly there for a second, and then he was back to being the hottest guy in the school. And by one of the hottest guys in the school, I mean like there were a few, and of course they were all in the same fucking friend group. So Dominic was friends with all the other hottest guys in the school. And of course, they were all popular. And these weren't your regular popular kids, you know, the ones that everybody wants to be friends with and everybody's jealous of. No, these were ones that were really mean, and they were the ones that would go out of their way to literally make your life a living hell. Now, see, I always knew like there was that group of kids in school, but I don't ever remember any of them going out of their way to make myself or anybody else feel bad, if that makes sense. I also did try to apologize to Dominic once, which was probably that summer, the summer before 8th grade. I was walking my dog and I was walking back to my house and I saw him and one of his friends riding their bike around my neighborhood. And I went into the house and, you know, put the leash up and I'm about to go upstairs, and my mom is like, oh my goodness, and then runs outside. I look out the door and one of them had fell off of their bike and scraped their knee. And while they're standing out there, my mom's like, hey, you stay out here with them. I'm gonna go inside and grab some band-aids. And his friend's like, oh my god, dude, I just lost my chain. And then like, you know, he's looking around the fucking cul-de-sac for it, you know. And Dominic is just sitting there, you know, staring at the ground, and I'm like, hey, like, I just wanted to say that I'm really sorry for things that I said. I really miss you and I really wish that we were still friends. And he just like looks up at me and I'm like, so I just wanted to say I'm sorry and I would really like it if we could be friends again. And my mom comes back out with the band-aid and she puts it on his knee, and then he gets up and he thanks my mom, and you know, he just kind of looks at me and then he drives away on his bike. And then he fucking falls off of it 5 seconds later because that bike is too big for him. I'm happy he fell off of his bike with his fucking 5-foot ass. You're fucking gross. And I'm gonna be your friend anyways. I forgot how mean kids can be, okay? I feel like maybe things would have gotten better now because of people becoming more aware that words hold power, you know? And I feel like TikTok is like, you know, part to blame for a lot of things, but also part to thank, you know, for bringing awareness to certain situations. Like, I didn't realize how important mental health awareness was until TikTok videos were popping up on my For You page about mental health, and then I went and saw a psychiatrist and figured out my mental health stuff. Completely off topic, but all I'm saying is you would hope that kids now would think that, you know, and actually realize that words have power. I say that, but then this girl, never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. Anyway, so fast forward to my sophomore year in high school. I haven't talked to Dominic in almost 4 years, and I'm definitely not the same girl that I used to be. I low-key do my hair now, and that's literally all I do. I don't do the makeup, I just do my hair, which I never thought I would do. If younger me could see me now, she would be absolutely disgusted. But I also started making new friends. And I was friends with a group of girls who were known as hoes, and you are who you hang out with, which I'm not saying that as in you really are who you hang out with. It's just saying that, like, if you hang out with a bunch of kids that do bad shit, you are also going to be labeled as a kid who does bad shit. Anyways, back to my situation. I really didn't feel like I had a glow up. Like, I didn't have one where you purposely have a glow up, you know, you get your hair dyed, you get your nails done, you get your eyebrow waxed, you know, you get all that shit done. No, pretty much what happened over this summer, it wasn't even over the past few years, it was over this summer. I got a fat ass. That is what happened. And I pretty much had like the ideal body shape for women that women want, and that is like up to beauty standards nowadays. So when I went back to school, I had every single guy hitting me up and asking me to hang out, and obviously I knew that it was not for the reason that they just wanted to get to know me and they really liked me. I knew they only wanted to have one thing from me. But it was kind of nice to have some male attention because I never really had any guys put their focus on me, even if it was in a bad way. And there was this girl who we're gonna call Melissa, okay? Melissa was really pretty, okay? But she used a lot of people. She was a user, yes. For example, if you were dating a really hot guy and she had feelings for that guy, she was gonna become friends with you, so that way she can hang out with you and your boyfriend, and in the end, snatch your boyfriend from you. Which sounds super fucked up, and it 100% is, okay? But back to her. She was really good looking. So I don't really know why she thought she had to do that. And anytime that she did do it, 9 times out of the 10, the guys would leave their girlfriends and date her for a little bit, and then she would break up with them because she would get bored, and then she would move on to another guy. Like, she was literally perfect. And hear me out, okay? I'm not saying that it's all about how a girl's body looks, because I hate those fucking standards coming from somebody who literally gets used for their body 24/7, and I see other girls that don't. But there's not one genuine guy who wants to go on a date with me or get to know me rather than do the nasty with me and then tell all of his friends about it, so that way all of his friends try to get with me next. But Melissa was the type of girl, she was super skinny, she didn't have anything upstairs or anything downstairs, not packing anything in the front or in the back. But she was literally like pretty to the point where guys didn't care about that. Like, they literally just thought that she was really pretty for her face. So I think that when she would do this shit, it was more of an insecurity thing, because she could get any guy that she wanted. It's just that she wanted guys that other girls had, I think. Like, she would try to become best friends with the girls who guys were obsessed with at the time, the girls who were trends in school at the time, so that way she could hang out with all of these guys. I mean, to be honest, I wish I could have switched positions with her, because I definitely would rather have somebody like me for my face and my personality rather than my fucking fat ass. So anyways, Melissa and I became really good friends, and I knew the only reason why she wanted to hang out with me was because I had a lot of attention from all these guys for all of the wrong reasons. And I mean, it's low-key sad because I did consider her a best friend, but I also knew that the only reason why she was hanging out with me was because of the guys, and if I didn't have those guys there, like, fawning over me, she wouldn't have wanted to be my friend in the first place. To be honest, I think actually a week before we became friends, I heard that she hated me because of all the guys that like hung around me. She called me a pick-me girl because yeah, she called me a pick-me girl pretty much. And whenever her and I became best friends, she's like, oh, we should hang out with these guys and this group of guys and that group of guys. And I told her, I was like, listen sis, we can hang out with whoever the fuck you want. You can have whoever you want, but stay away from Dom. Stay away from him. Don't go near him. Don't go near Dom. Don't do it. Period. I was like, you can have whoever the fuck you want. I don't care. So anyways, back to my dilemma. Like I said, my body pretty much changes overnight. And I decided I'm gonna start dressing a little bit more flattering for my body. A little bit more like a whore. But how the fuck else do you dress up a fat ass? I don't know. I'm not gonna wear fucking khakis. Even though khakis actually really do make your butt look really good. Not the point. The one day I wore a crop top, a tight crop top with an oversized hoodie. And then I wore some, so you know, my mom took me out shopping the one week and I got some really cute clothes. And the one day I came into school wearing a tight crop top with an oversized hoodie and a mini skirt, which I definitely should have gotten in trouble for and almost did get in trouble for like 4 times. But at this point, I'm not even gonna lie, I low-key even have the teachers staring at me. Yes, that made me feel uncomfortable. But it is what it is. I mean, the girl teachers would be like, I think that skirt is too short, blah 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 blah, you need to go to the principal's office. But then, you know, the guy teachers would be like, no, I think she's fine, you know, it's fingertip length. And since I was wearing an oversized hoodie, I literally would like fucking, like, you know how like whenever you're like, they ask you to put your arms down to see if they're like, your shorts are fingertip length and you go like this. Like, yeah, they're fingertip length. They're so fingertip length, I swear to God. Yeah. That was me. So after school that day, I have all these guys adding me on Snapchat, following me on Instagram, texting me. I don't even know how half of them got my number. And even Dominic added me, but I didn't add him back because I was like still really upset at him for that shit in 7th grade and 6th grade. So yes, I still hold a fucking grudge, bitch. And one more thing about Melissa, it was really weird that Melissa wanted to be friends with me, because yeah, she only wanted to be friends with me because of the boys, but like these boys weren't even fucking cute. Like they were all fugly. Like it was the guys that knew they weren't good enough, like good looking enough to get with the pretty girls, so they were trying to get with the average looking girls, aka me. But not to take them out or anything like that, it was just so you could sleep with them, you know. So the one day I'm standing at my locker with Melissa, her and I are talking and laughing, and then Dominic all of a sudden comes up like, ew, bye, get the fuck away from me. Anyway, so he's asking how I'm doing, acting as if he really cares. So then I look at Melissa and she's like, hey, I'm gonna go get a drink real quick, I'll be back. And then Dominic's like, hey, like, why didn't you add me on Snapchat? Like, it's been so long since we've talked and I miss you. I miss you. And I'm like, I thought you never wanted to talk to me again. And he's like, really, really, like, that was so long ago. Like, I don't hold a grudge against you for that stuff. And I don't think you should hold a grudge against me either. Like, how fucking gross. I literally hate men. But of course I still added him back on Snapchat. But for what? Because this man literally would never Snapchat me unless I posted a picture that I was hanging out with Melissa on my story. Like, he didn't even fucking Snapchat me back after I added him the first time to be like, hey, like, I miss you, blah blah blah, sorry for everything that happened, da 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 da. Like, no, he didn't want to talk, he didn't miss me, he wanted to get with Melissa, and he wanted to use me to get closer to her. I low-key knew that, but I was talking myself out of knowing it, so that way I wouldn't get my feelings hurt. And then the one day he swiped up on my story and he was like, hey, like, I want, do you want to hang out? And I was like, sure. And he was like, oh, is Melissa still with you? And I was like, no, why does that matter? And I knew that if he felt like, and I knew that he knew if he would have said some dumb shit, I would have cut him off right then and there and literally never hung out with him again, and he never would have saw Melissa ever again. I would have made sure of it. So he's like, oh, no, I just didn't want her to feel like a third wheel, you know, because if it's me and you hanging out, I wouldn't be surprised if she would feel like a third wheel, ha ha ha. So I go over to his house and, you know, we're sitting in his basement and we're talking, catching up, not really catching up, you know, kind of just like it's awkward, and I think he's making it awkward on purpose. You know how whenever somebody could talk to you and like make conversation with you, like it's possible, but instead they're literally forcing it to be awkward. They're like, yeah, I know. Oh, I did this over the summer. Not a, what did you do over the summer? How are you? How was your family? No, it was exactly like that. And then he was like, do you want to watch a movie? And I'm like, sure. So, you know, we sit on the couch, we're watching a movie, and one thing leads to another, and we end up doing the fucking nasty. So disappointed in myself. And then I end up catching feelings for him all over again. Even worse than I did the fucking first time. But after that, I would try and text him and Snapchat him literally throughout the day, and he would never answer me. And then finally I text him and I'm like, so did you just want to do the nasty and never speak to me again, or did you actually want to talk to me and hang out like we used to, like you said? And he was like, no, not at all, not at all. He was like, I've just been super busy with school and practice and stuff like that. Like, I'm really busy right now, but we should hang out later. But I'm literally gonna cut it short for you guys. Pretty much what was happening is we would do the nasty. He would invite me over to his house to hang out. We would hang out for like 5 minutes talking, and then we would put on a movie, and then we would do the nasty, and then I would be the first one to text him after asking when he wanted to hang out again. And yeah, I knew that he was using me just to do this. Now, I kept asking to go over to his house though, because even though I knew I was being used, I wanted to hang out with him, and that was the only way to hang out with him. And the only time that he would ask me to hang out is whenever he thought that I was hanging out with Melissa. Like, he would literally swipe up my story and he'd be like, hey, what are you doing right now? And I'd be like, oh, I'm hanging out. And he'd be like, are you with Melissa? And I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, well, good, because I wanted you to come over and I wanted us to hang out. Like, dude, at this point, just save me the fucking heartache. Just save me the fucking heartache. Just tell me the damn truth. It's not worth it. Eventually, it got to the point where I wouldn't go, where whenever I would go over there, it wouldn't be we would have small talk and then watch a movie and then do the nasty. No, it got to the point where literally I would knock on the door, he would go answer the door, we would go upstairs to his room, and we would literally get on the bed, do the nasty, and then I would leave because he would go and hang out with his friends right after. Or he would be like, oh, I have practice, or oh, my family and I are going to visit my grandma, so could you walk home? He would make me walk home. He wouldn't even like offer to drive me. Like, bitch, what the fuck? So as you can imagine, this made me feel absolutely fucking terrible about myself, and my self-esteem literally was fucking 6 feet under, literally. Especially whenever I found out that he would text Melissa all fucking day. Yeah, he was texting Melissa all fucking day. Melissa and I are sitting at lunch the one day, and you know, she goes and takes her tray up to the fucking garbage, and I'm sitting there and I look over and her phone is fucking blowing the fuck up, and I didn't even like expect that it was fucking Dom, because I knew that Dom liked her, but I had no, like, Dom wouldn't have kept asking me if I was with her so he could hang out with her. Instead, he would have just asked her if they wanted to hang out, because he's the type of person where if you aren't talking to him and giving him the same energy back, he'll try to give you that energy, but in subtle ways. Like, you know, he couldn't ask her to hang out, so he would ask me to see if I was hanging out with her, so that way he could hang out with both of us. Anyway, so like I said, her phone is blowing up, and I, you know, grab her phone and kind of look at it, and it's fucking Dom. Yup. And he's not just double or triple texting her. No, he texted her 10 times in a fucking row. 10 times in a row. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you and Dom talk. And she was like, girl, I don't talk to him. She was like, he texts me. And then she, like, you know, shows me the messages, and he's like, OMG, hey, by the way, I remember you saying that you like this one band and their concert's coming. They're gonna be having a concert that's like 10 minutes away from us. Would you wanna go? Like, what the fuck? And like I said, Melissa didn't like Dom, so I had no reason to be fucking mad at her. It literally was all him. Like, she liked the guys that would hang around me during every single one of my fucking classes, because at first it was the ones that weren't cute enough to be with any really, really pretty girls. And then number two, it was the popular guys that were in love with my fat ass that would hang around me all day. So fast forward, for the first time in 2 weeks, Dominic came up to me the one day in school. He walked up to my locker, and Melissa was talking to me. And whenever she saw him walking up to my locker, she was like, hey, yeah, I'll see you later. And I turn around and I see him walking, and I'm like, of course. And then as soon as he saw her walking away, he went to turn around and walk the other way. And I was like, hey, did you need something? And he was like, oh, like, no, I was just gonna ask if you wanted to come over after school today, but I forgot I have a bunch of stuff to do, so maybe tomorrow. So I'm starting to really connect the dots that he only likes me for Melissa. So the one day I asked her if I could test a little theory and if I could come over to her house. So I posted a picture of me and her hanging out, you know, the one day, to see if Dom would ask me to hang out, knowing that she's with me. But I also decided that I was gonna ask him to hang out first, okay? And of course, I get no response. And I had asked him like an hour before I posted that picture with Melissa on my story, even though I already low-key knew in the back of my head what was gonna happen. And I was right. He looked at my story, and then he slid up and he was like, yo, do you wanna hang out? And he caught it literally 5 minutes after I posted it, so he knew that we were still together. So at this point, I text him and I'm like, hey, like, I know you're using me to get closer to her. And he's like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, okay, then why can't we just hang out? And he's like, no, we can't. can't. He was like, I've just seriously been busy. I was like, all right, whatever then, I'm coming over today. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, and we're not doing the nasty. I was like, we can actually hang out. So, you know, he's like, all right, whatever, that's fine. You know, obviously he seemed pissed off about it. And then, you know, I'm at his house and he went to the bathroom and I'm sitting on the couch. And I see his phone keeps going off from one of his friends, Jake. So I open up his phone. Yes, I have no fucking shame. I opened up his phone and it was text messages between him and Jake. And he was like, yeah, dude, he was like, I'm spending time with her because she thinks that I'm fucking using her to get closer to Melissa. He was like, I am, but like, bruh. He's like, to be honest, I don't even want to be here. Like, she's so fucking gross. I don't even want to fuck her. Yeah. He was like, I'm literally just doing that so that way I can hang out with Melissa. So at that point, I'm really upset and I grab all my shit and I leave his phone open so that way he can see that I saw the messages and hopefully he'll feel bad, but he didn't. So yeah, I was really upset about that. And then, oh, here's the kicker. You want to know the kicker? Literally a week later, Melissa's like, I don't want you to be mad at me. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I kind of have feelings for Dom. And I was like, bitch, you know everything that he's put me through. Why do you have feelings for him? And she was like, yeah, but I just think it's really sweet how, like, you know, he was trying to get to me like that whole entire time. Like, if you don't want to be friends with me anymore, I completely understand. And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to be friends with her, but then again, I had no other friends. So I was still friends with her, but her and Dom literally started dating and they would hang out right in front of me. Like, we would sit and eat lunch and Dom would be there sitting and eating lunch with us. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And then she would always bring up, Dom always says that, like, you were like really bad in bed and like I'm really good in bed. And I'm like, oh, does he now? Like, you were literally dating someone who used your best friend and literally made her feel like shit about herself. And I just want to put out there, ladies, if you know a guy is using you, do not hold yourself to those standards of like what they're putting you at. It's fucked up. Don't let a guy do that to you, okay? Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to send in your anonymous story time, the links are down below in the description. Other than that, I will see you guys next Saturday with a new story time.